Okay, for today, we'll be discussing about stochastic inventory model. Okay, so I think the only thing new here is this one, no? This one, stochastic inventory. So I believe that in your Pro MGT1, you have already discussed about for Pro MGT1, the assumption there was that demand was deterministic. So you were computing for the economic order quantity, no, or how much to order, so that your objective then was to minimize the total inventory cost or the total annual inventory cost, if I'm not mistaken. Tama? We wanted to minimize that, and at some point in minimizing that, you had to get the derivative of your total inventory cost with respect to Q and then equate it to and then when you equated that to zero, then you're able to find the optimal Q. And you had a lot of cases, no? You had the basic EOQ model, you had the EOQ with stock with back order and with stock out, I believe. Um, and then you were taught how to compute the reorder point, etc. So here in IEO per 3, we will be talking about various inventory models as well. But this time, we will be talking about stochastic inventory models, meaning your demand will follow a certain probability distribution. In other words, uncertain ka about what the demand value will be, and there's a probability distribution that describes the demand for a certain product. Kaya stochastic inventory model. So nothing new except that one. Okay? But the derivation of the formula is no longer as simple as the derivation that you had in Pro MGP1. Okay? For the reason that your expected profit or your expected cost will now have the integral symbol. Okay? Or the summation symbol. Okay? Kasi nga maraming scenarios possible kapag hindi deterministic yung demand natin. Okay? So you will see that later on, that there are a lot of scenarios, no? What is Leibniz rule? Why do we need it in this particular lesson or topic? Leibniz rule is actually just a formula. If you for those who have gone through the PowerPoint of Leibniz rule, it's just a few slides. Actually, one slide lang yung kailangan kong tignan at intindihin nyo doon, no? Which is the formula. And then all the other slides are actually application na lang, di ba? Example is an example. So, Leibniz rule is actually a formula that allows us to get the derivative, okay? To get the derivative here, the derivative of a function with respect to x, okay? A function of x with respect to x, where f of x is actually within an integral symbol, okay? So kung dati, you're getting the derivative of q squared or 2q, ngayon, you have to get the derivative of a function that is under the integral symbol. And the Leibniz rule is a formula that permits you to do that. Okay? And that formula consists of three separate terms. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, may tatlong task kang gagawin para makapag-differentiate ka or para makapagkuha ka ng derivative under the integral symbol. Okay? So, that's the only thing that we need from Leibniz rule to be able to get the derivative of an expression that is under the integral symbol. So we'll get to that later. Okay, but for now, we will be discussing several stochastic inventory models. One in particular is called the newsboy problem, and the other two would be a continuous review model that considers a backorder case and a stockout case. Okay, so and then we will end the discussion in the next 2 weeks with what we call the periodic review model. Okay, newsboy problem. Let's start. Okay, newsboy. This is taken from the scenario or the case of a newspaper boy who sells newspapers on the streets. Okay, have you ever seen a newspaper boy selling newspaper on the streets while you're seated in the car or while you're commuting and you're walking? Have you seen people selling cigarettes, soft drinks, and then there are newspapers also that they're selling along the road? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
There are a few who still sell newspapers. But ever wonder why this model is called the newsboy problem, no? Ever wonder what they have to go through, okay, every day? These people are not educated, but based on their experience, they know more or less how many newspapers to order para ibenta for a given day. And take note, the characteristic of a newsboy problem is the same as a product that perishes, no? Yung perishable yung product. A newspaper is perishable kasi if you're not able to sell it on the day that you bought it, then the next day it will be old news. Correct? If the newspaper is dated today, May 3, tomorrow, May 4, wala nang bibili niyan. That's old news. Ang bibili nila May 4. Di ba? So, therefore, it is imperative that you order the right amount, the exact right amount of the newspaper so that you minimize the cost of not being able to sell the excess newspapers that you order, or you minimize the cost of not being able to supply naman yung mga newspapers na in demand na may mga gustong bumili pero kulang yung in-order mo. And it works this way. Imagine a newsboy. Imagine a newsboy early in the morning, mga 3 or 4 a.m., no, when the newspaper, hard copy newspaper is being printed in the printing press. Pumipila na yan sila, no, to buy from the newspaper company. Okay, bibili sila, mamumuhunan yan sila. Mura lang naman yung dyaryo. Mamumuhunan yan sila, bibili yan sila ng, let's say, 20 sets of newspaper. They feel that they can sell 20 sets for the day. So, they would have to pay that. And then, yan, sasabak na sila. Umpisa ng 4 or 5 in the morning, meron ng mga taong nagko-commute, papunta sa work. Some of them still prefer to read a hard copy and therefore, bibili sa kanila. Okay? So, you get the story. You need to, okay? So, for the parameters, na discuss ko na habang pinakwentuhan ko kayo. Yung ordering cost, every newsboy would incur what they call an ordering cost. Okay. Can you give me an example? Bakit may cost of ordering ang isang newsboy? Hindi pa yan yung purchase cost ng dyaryo, ah. Ordering cost lang yan. Yung cost lang to make that order happen.
Sir, kasama po ba yung transportation cost nila?
Again, please. Hindi
Yung
masyadong clear.
transportation cost po.
Okay, Joanna, transportation cost, that's correct. Again, newsboy yan. So, para makapag-order siya, whatever the amount of the order is, no, kahit isang dyaryo lang yan o 30 dyaryo yan, kailangan niyang mamasahe, no, papunta doon sa printing press. Or at worst, maglalakad siya at magpapawis siya para makatipid. Pero may cost yan, no? Kailangan niya mamasahe. Or kung gusto niya na kapag dating niya sa printing press, naka-ready na sa kanya yung dyaryo na kailangan niya, since lahat ng tao ngayon may cellphone naman at pwedeng mag-text, pwede siya mag-text, no? Pwede siya mag-text na paki-ready na 20 pieces to pick upin ko dyan, 4 a.m. And again, texting to place that order, may cost yan kasi mga prepaid lang naman yan yung sila, di ba? So may cost yan per text. Kahit na postpaid, may cost yan. Okay? So again, there is a cost associated to placing an order and we call that the ordering cost. And we let A be equal to the ordering cost. Okay? The rest, alam na natin. Selling price is S. Selling price meaning kapag ka nabili na niya yung dyaryo, at para mabili niya yung dyaryo, may tinatawag tayong purchasing cost. Okay, there's a purchasing cost. And then, pag nabili na niya yan, may presyo na yan. More often than not, may retail price ang newspaper. Okay, hindi naman sila pwedeng pumatong. May retail price na yan. But these newsboys will just get discounts from the printing press or from the newspaper company. Okay, kaya yung purchase cost nila is lower than the selling price, definitely. Okay, so these are all familiar na sa inyo, no? This is, I don't know if this is new, salvage value. Okay, but again, salvage value is, again, as I told you, you cannot sell your newspaper tomorrow. It's old news. You cannot sell your uh, baked goodies tomorrow kasi hindi na siya fresh. Okay, hindi na siya magugustuhan ng mga customer kasi kailangan mo na siyang i-heat. Iba na yung quality niya. So, usually, bake shops, bakeries, at saka itong newspaper problem follow the newsboy stochastic inventory model assumptions. Okay? Pagka nag-produce ka ng tinapay ngayon, ang goal mo talaga is maubos mo yan. Kasi kapag may matira dyan, problema ka. What the bake shops usually do is pag may natira beyond 6 p.m. sa mall or 7 p.m., 2 hours before mag-closing, binopromo na nila yan ng 20% discount. Hindi natin alam kung at 20% discount, may profit pa rin sila or lugi na sila. We do not know. Okay? Pero definitely, may discount na yan. Okay? So salvage value is the amount that you will actually sell your products for because you will no longer be able to sell them the following period. Okay? At the same price. Kaya, yan na yung value at which you're going to sell your product at a discount. Okay? Ayun yung salvage value. And stock out cost naman, and salvage value happens when your order quantity, which later on you'll see here, no, order quantity is Q, okay, and your demand per period is X. Okay? So if Q is greater than X, okay, if Q is greater than X, then you would have an excess Q minus X. So this is your excess production of bread or excess purchase of newspaper. Okay? Sumobra yung binili mo. Okay? So kapag may excess ka, yung sobra, hindi mo na pwedeng ipagpabukas yon kasi pangit na nga yung quality or wala na magbabasa niyan kasi luma na. So ang ginagawa mo ngayon, nagde-decide ka na lang ng price at which to sell it. Yun yung salvage value natin. Okay? The price at which we decide to sell it is your salvage value. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay? And then, yung stock out naman is the opposite. Okay? Yung stock out cost happens if you ordered a certain amount or you produce a certain amount of bread, you ordered a certain amount of newspaper, and then during the day, biglang ang lakas ng demand. Ang daming gustong bumili ng bread or ang daming gustong bumili ng dyaryo to the point that you don't have enough anymore to supply. So, dito, sa stock out case, undersupply naman yung scenario. Okay? Of course, both of these are mutually exclusive, no? Yung salvage value at saka yung stock out. Only one of them can happen. Both cannot happen at the same time. Okay? So it's either may excess ka or may kulang ka. Okay? That you cannot supply. So therefore, this happens if Q is less than X. In which case, you have X minus Q representing your amount that you cannot supply. Okay? So, if you have Q minus X, excess production, this quantity is multiplied by V. Kasi whatever your excess production is, or excess newspaper is, you have to sell it at a salvage value V. Kaya minumultiply mo yan. Pag ito naman na nangyari, pag mas malaki yung demand kaysa yung in-order mong quantity ng newspaper at the beginning of the day, then you will now experience stock out cost. So you multiply the stock out cost for every unit you run out of stock by the number of units na undersupply ka, which is X minus Q. Okay? And the stock out cost is often, if it is not indicated in the problem, no, it is often represented as the opportunity cost. Okay? Opportunity. Bakit opportunity siya? Kasi yan yung wala ka nang mabenta. Meron pang naghahanap, gustong bumili sa'yo. Sayang, di ba? Kung nabenta mo sana yon, may kinita kang extra. So yung lost opportunity to earn profit is actually your penalty or what we call your stock out cost. And it is represented by S minus C. Ano ba yung S? Selling price. Ano ba yung C? Purchase cost. Okay? If you get the difference between selling price and purchase cost, then you get the profit margin. So yung profit margin na yon, yan yung sayang, yan yung opportunity na nawala sa'yo for not being able to have the right amount of stock to sell. Okay? So naubusan ka tuloy. Is that clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So in this newsboy model, we have two variables. One is a decision variable, whereas the other is a random variable. So I've already told you, the newsboy or the bake shop, the chef, has a decision to make every day, every morning of every day. They have a decision to make. And that decision is how many units of the product to buy, and then, or how many units of the product to produce if they're the ones producing it. Okay, that's their main dilemma. So Q is the order quantity and it's a decision variable. Now, the decision variable is subjected to demand, di ba? Ibig sabihin, you decide based on your knowledge demand. But in this particular scenario, demand, whether for bread or whether for newspaper on the street, is random. It's never deterministic. It's never fixed. Okay? You do not know exactly how many newspapers will be bought from you on a given day or how many donuts will be bought from you on a given hour. Okay? And therefore, we say that X is a random variable and a random variable follows a probability distribution Fx. Okay? So X is your demand for the product, Fx is your probability distribution of your demand. Is that clear? So yan yung nagpapakomplicate ngayon ng situation kasi hindi mo alam kung ano yung demand eh. Okay? And therefore, you can only calculate expected values because you do not know exactly what the demand is. Okay? So our goal, okay, for the newsboy is for the newsboy to be able to order the optimal quantity of newspapers. Okay? When you say optimal quantity of newspapers, it means that it is the quantity that would maximize his or her expected profit for the period or for the day. Okay? So given that your demand is random, we want to find a formula that would help the newsboy compute for the optimal order quantity. And we start the process with this one. We let P be equal to profit. So unlike your EOQ models in ProMGT, wherein your measure or your objective is to minimize cost, here we want to maximize profit for the newsboy or for the bake shop. Okay, as in our example. Okay, and then since we have a random variable X, then it is imperative that we can only calculate E of P or the expected profit. Okay, so let's start. There are two scenarios as I've said. And they cannot happen at the same time. One scenario is you will have excess production or excess order. And the other scenario is you will have undersupply. You don't have enough items to actually supply to your customers' demand. Okay, so let's start with the case where you have excess quantity. Okay, your Q, makikita natin, no, itong scenario na to, your Q is greater than your X. So, how do we now calculate the profit if Q is greater than X? Take note that I have to separate these two scenarios because their profit is different, is calculated differently. Okay? Hindi siya kasi isang general equation lang that is true for both kasi both scenarios cannot happen at the same time. So isa lang sa kanilang mangyayari. Kaya kailangan natin i-separate yung profit equation. Okay? So now I want to bring your attention to the profit equation. P1, the first scenario. First scenario is the order quantity of the newsboy is higher than the actual demand that happens during the day. So ang mangyayari, pag mas malaki, pag nangyari itong scenario 1 na to, meron si newsboy na excess newspapers at the end of the day na kailangan niyang ibenta na ng mas mura para mabili siya. Ayaw niyang maiwanan ng newspaper at the end of the day. Okay? So, how do we calculate the profit using these parameters here? So, profit from your accounting or from your IE Mecon is equal to sales minus cost. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sales minus cost. So, umpisa natin sa lahat ng mga revenues. Okay? So, profit. Tama? Selling price times X. Tell me if that's correct. Again, we're under the case that X is less than or equal to Q. Tama ba? Selling price times X.
Yes, sir.
Yung benta mo, yung Q mo, mas malaki kaysa dun sa demand. Ano yung benta mo? Will it be based on Q or will it be based on X?
X, sir.
X, di ba? Kung ano lang yung demand, yun lang yung benta mo. Kaya S times X. Okay? And then, pagka mayroon kang excess quantity, yung excess quantity mo na Q minus X na sinasabi natin kanina, ito, Q minus X, you have to multiply that by the salvage value. Okay? Kasi mas mababa benta mo doon. Okay? So you have to separate those two. In other words, S and V are different values. Usually V is, of course, lower than S. Okay? So this part gives you the sale using the ordinary selling price, and this part gives you the sale of quantities that are in excess using the salvage value price. Okay, so together, if I add them, then I have the total revenue. Okay, total revenue for the day. Then I now subtract the cost. The cost will be the purchase cost C multiplied by X or multiplied by Q.
Q po, sir.
You multiply that by Q. Kasi yung in-order mo, babayaran mo lahat yun eh. Whether sa salvage mo siya nabenta or nabenta mo siya at regular price, lahat yan, babayaran mo ng C. So, if you order 20 units, you have to multiply all 20 units by the cost of purchase. Kaya C times Q, yung cost. And then lastly, you have what you call, kanina yung example natin, you have a fixed ordering cost, no? In ordering the newspapers from the newspaper company. So you subtract your ordering cost to get the net profit. Okay? So this is therefore the net profit wherein you have excess quantity or unsold quantity that you need to sell at a discount called salvage value. Okay? And is this clear?
Yes, po.
Okay, so let's move to the second profit equation, which happens whenever your demand is greater than your order quantity. Okay, so this time, you ordered your newspaper. Let's say you ordered 10 copies. Tapos, after selling all the 10 copies, meron pang mga lumalapit sa'yo na gustong bumili pero wala ka nang maibigay. Okay? So, in that case, your X, the actual demand, is greater than your Q. So, nandito na tayo. So, if that happens, then your actual sales would be S, the selling price, times naubos mo di ba? Naubusan ka. So, therefore, lahat ng in-order mo na Q, okay, nabenta mo. Kaya, S times Q ngayon, hindi S times X. Okay? Kasi there's a portion in that demand, in that X na hindi mo ma-supply. Kaya hindi mo pwedeng i-multiply yung S by X. So this time, in this equation, S is multiplied just by Q, or how much you have or how much you ordered. Is that clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so that's your sales. And then, wala ka na namang salvage value. Ang panggagalingan lang ng sale mo is yung nabenta mo. So, therefore, isubtract na natin yung cost. Ang cost mo, ganun pa rin, no? Meron kang purchase cost. Since nag-order ka ng Q quantity of newspapers, each newspaper costs C, so you multiply C by Q. Okay? And then, meron kang fixed ordering cost. Just like the previous scenario, meron ka pa din minus A. Ang bago dito, of course, is this one. Which is, your penalty costs, bawat unit na hindi mo nabenta kasi wala ka ng stock, okay, is represented by X minus Q. Ito, this one. You multiply this, kung ilan man yan, by P, which is your penalty cost. And unless otherwise specified in the problem, your penalty or stock out cost, P, will always be equal to S minus C, unless otherwise specified. Okay, that's your penalty cost or your stock out cost. Okay, so therefore, this now represents your second profit equation. Okay, you cannot have two profit equations. You just need to have one. So we will merge these two into what we call the expected profit of the newsboy. Okay, and you will see here that the expected profit is this one. If X is less than or equal to Q, then that's represented by the integral from negative infinity up to Q. Negative infinity does not mean that negative values are permitted, no? It simply means that this is the lower limit of X. Whereas infinity here simply means upper limit of X. Okay, so let's say, for example, newsboy from his experience knows that in a day, at least, pinakamasama na, makakabenta siya ng 5 sets ng dyaryo. Okay? And then, on a very good day, on a weekend, for example, nakakabenta siya ng 20 sets of newspaper. So, the minimum value na o-orderin niya is 5 kasi yun yung minimum demand. And the maximum value is 20. So, that means your negative infinity is 5. Your infinity here, okay, your negative infinity is 5 and your infinity here is 20. Okay, representing the lower limit and the upper limit of X. Okay, so I want you to look at this equation for expected profit and tell me what you think. Nakita nyo ba kung saan nanggaling yan? At kung anong ibig sabihin yan. Okay, so I want you to focus here first. Dito. Then, focus kayo after that, focus kayo dito.
Sir, galing sa P1 at P2 po.
Okay? So, ang ginawa lang natin dyan is expected profit is equal to the integral from negative infinity to Q P1 times fx dx plus Q to infinity P2 fx dx. Again, as I've told you, expected profit kasi kailangan natin because x is a random variable. So if you recall in your Eng.1, the expectation of gx, expected value of gx, where gx is a function of x. Okay, so in this particular problem, it could be profit, no? Profit is a function of your random variable x. Okay, so pag expected, ito mas mabilis. Pag expected x, mabilis lang, di ba? X, fx, you still remember this? Dx from lower limit to upper limit. Alala niyo yan? Alala niyo yung pagkuha ng expectation of a continuous random variable? Or
Yes.
summation of x times fx, di ba? X equals lower up to upper limit. Alala niyo? Di ba yung yan ang pagkuha ng average or mean, di ba? Or expectation. So pag expected of gx, then same thing. From lower to upper, gx times fx dx, or summation of gx fx from x equals lower to upper. Okay? So, ganun lang ang ginagawa natin dito. Itong profit na to, ito yung P1. Okay? Ito yung P2. P1 tsaka P2. So, ginagawa lang natin, in-spread natin yung P1 tsaka P2 into two different limits. Isa, negative infinity to Q. Yung isa, Q to infinity. Okay? Tapos, ito yung gx, fx, dx para makuha yung expected profit. Okay? So, ngayon, gusto kong maintindihan nyo kung anong ibig sabihin nito, itong expression na to. Okay? This simply means the probability that your profit probability that your x will be less than Q. Okay? So you're actually multiplying, pag nilabas ko tong P1 na to, you're actually multiplying P1, which is your profit, times the probability that X will be less than Q. And then dito naman, ito, labas mo yung P2, this will now be P2 times the probability, itong Q to infinity, the probability that X will be greater than Q. And hence, makukuha mo yung P2 na profit. Okay? So, this is simply expected profit lang. Profit times probability plus profit times probability. Okay? Expected profit concept lang yan. Okay, so I'll erase because I need a space. Okay, so you can take a screenshot and then I will erase na. Okay, let's go back. Okay. So now you will see that we simply put the equations here, and then when I simplify this, okay, when I simplify this, ito na yung nangyari. Okay, anong nangyari from this step to this step?
Sir, in-isolate po ba yung CQ minus A?
Okay? So itong CQ minus A, napunta dito sa dulo. Nawala na siya sa integral symbol. Okay? Take note nasa labas to ng dx. So wala na to sa integral symbol. So ang nangyari lang is tingnan natin from this P1, itong P1 na equation na to, no? Dinagay natin siya sa integral para makuha yung expected profit, expected P1. Minultiply natin yung P1 by fx dx, minultiply natin yung P2 by fx dx, and then we put the corresponding limit. Yung limit nang galing dito. Okay? So for P1, the limit is yung x mo dapat mas maliit sa q. Kaya ang limit niya is from the lowest value up to q. X is from the lowest value up to q. Q yung maximum mo dito sa P1. Q is the maximum value of your x. Kaya yung upper limit niya is q. Whereas dito sa P2, okay, sa P2, ang minimum value ng x mo is q kasi x greater than q ka Okay? So smallest value mo yung q, kaya q yung lower limit. Tapos, upper limit mo is any value, okay, higher than q. Okay? So therefore, ito lang yung ginawa natin dyan. So from here to the next step, you will see that I just copied sx plus b times q minus x. Ito yun, sx plus b times q minus x. Okay, in-isolate ko to. Okay, times fx dx. Kasi take note, 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. I can distribute this based on the property, di ba? Sx times fx dx, vq minus x times fx dx, cq times fx dx, and a times fx dx. Okay? Ang ginawa ko lang is in-isolate ko to, okay, times f of x dx. Ito yon. Tapos, in-isolate ko to, sq minus px minus q, in-isolate ko yan, this quantity, sq minus p times x minus q times f of x dx. Okay? So, anong ginawa ko dito sa c minus q? Ito yung nangyari dyan. So, take note, accounted na yung iba except itong cq minus a. Itong cq minus a appears in here sa side na to. Negative infinity to q. Okay? Ito na lang yung lalagay ko kasi yung dalawa accounted for na fx dx. Tapos, makikita ko ulit siya dito sa pangalawa. Pero this time, yung pangalawa is q2 infinity. Tapos, may negative cq minus a ulit. Fx dx. Okay? So, since cq minus a, since x is your random variable, then it follows that your cq minus a is just a constant with respect to your random variable. So, pwede ko na ngayong ilabas. Okay? So, pwede ko na ngayong ilabas yung negative cq minus a. Okay? Tapos, factoring lang. Factor out ko lang. Ilalabas ko lang siya. Tapos, integral of negative infinity to q fx dx for the first term plus integral from q to infinity fx dx for the second term. Tama ba, class? Kapag dinistribute ko to, ito pa rin yung lalabas. Okay? Yan pa rin yung lalabas. Pero take note that if I add this, okay, kaya importante, alam niyo yung probability nyo Anytime you integrate fx dx, that's a probability. So yung limit na lang ang titingnan mo. This one, is actually the probability that your x is less than q. While this one is the probability that your x is greater than q. Tama ba, class? Di ba ang formula ng probability sa continuous distribution in your n.1 is integral fx dx? So, after isolating and factoring out negative c minus q, negative CQ minus A, okay, after isolating that, you will see that in this bracket here, you'll have the sum of dalawang integral. One of which is x less than q, probability, and the other is probability x greater than q. What happens if I add these two? What is the sum?
Sir, 1 po ba?
1.
Okay, the total is the entire sample space, tama? Kasi captured mo na lahat ng possible values ng x by adding these two eh. Diba? By adding these two, you have captured all the possible values of x. Yung isa less than q, yung isa greater than q. Diba? And since continuous naman yan, yung equal to, pwede na lang natin ilagay anywhere. Pwede dito, pwede dito. Okay? So the sum is therefore equal to 1. Buong sample space na kasi yan. Or if I put these two together, itong dalawa, it will now give me the integral fx dx from negative infinity to q, then q to infinity means negative infinity to positive infinity. And therefore, that is your entire sample space already and the probability is equal to 1. Kaya, mangyayari is, ito, magka-cancel out. This is 1. So 1 times negative CQ minus A is this one. Ito yun. Kaya negative CQ minus A na lang siya, wala na siyang integral. Okay? Kasi minultiply natin siya sa 1. Okay? Okay ba, class? Intindihan?
Yes po.
Okay? So our final equation would therefore be this one. Okay, it would be Sx plus Bq minus x Fx dx plus Sq minus P times x minus Q Fx dx minus Cq minus A. Okay? I'll erase this na. So now, our objective. So, sulat natin ng maayos. Q to positive infinity. Then, kinokopya ko lang actually, no? Pero inaayos ko lang siya.
Okay.
Then, minus CQ minus A. Okay, so you have actually 4 terms, no? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 terms for your expected profit. So your objective now, just like your inventory models in Pro MGT1, your objective is to maximize profit, maximize expected profit. And to maximize expected profit, alam nyo naman, di ba? Differential calculus nyo, maxima or minima. Okay? Pag nagwa-maximize ka, you get the derivative of your function with respect to the variable, which is in this case, your order quantity. And then, what do you do when you get the derivative? After you get the derivative, what do you do in order to get the maxima or minima?
Equate po sa 0.
Okay, equate to 0 and then solve for the variable, no? In this case, it's q. So, basically, ang gagawin natin is to get the derivative of expected profit with respect to q and then equate this to 0, solve for what we call or what we know as q star. Or this one is your optimal order quantity. Okay? So that's the goal. The first step that I just discussed with you is this one, no? To be able to get this expected profit equation. Okay? For the newsboy problem. Yan yung expected profit. Okay? Given yung parameters, decision variable, and random variable that we have specified earlier. So once we have that equation for expected profit, we are now ready to do maximization or minimization. In this case, it's maximization, where we have to get the derivative of the expected profit and equate it to 0. So here begins the complication. Kasi for me to get the derivative of expected profit, I have to get the derivative of this equation. Okay? And you will see that kung dati, ang derivative natin is something like this lang, no? Derivative of negative CQ is what, class? What is the derivative of negative CQ? With respect to Q?
C po, sir.
Kulang.
Negative C
Minus
po.
A.
Negative C.
Okay, negative C, di ba? What is the derivative of negative A with respect to Q?
0 po.
0 kasi it's a constant. So dati, when we were getting derivatives, ganyan lang kasimple. Yung function natin is just a function of Q. Kahit may exponent pa yan, kayang-kaya natin kunin yung derivative. Ang problema natin ngayon is that paano natin kukunin yung derivative ng isang function na nasa integral? Ito, dalawa yan eh. Di ba? Paano ko kukunin yung derivative neto with respect to Q? O paano ko kukunin yung derivative neto with respect to Q? Okay? And that's why, prior to stochastic inventory models, you have a lesson na dapat sana diniscuss ko, no, kung walang independent learning week. But dahil may independent learning week, yung lesson na yon naging reading assignment. At yun yung Leibniz rule. Okay? Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na ang goal lang natin sa Leibniz rule is to learn the formula to get the derivative of a function with an integral. Okay? So dito natin ngayon i-apply yung Leibniz rule. Dito sa dalawang ito. This one and this one. And this one also. Okay? Dyan natin i-apply. Klaro ba, class?
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Okay, next step. Next step tayo. Yung application ng Leibniz rule. So kailangan makinig kayo. So punta tayo dito. So ito yung kukunan natin ng derivative, no, with respect to Q. Okay, so tandaan niyo na lang 'yan. Actually, the same thing here is here. So pwede ko ring lagyan to. This is your EP. Pwede ring ito yung pagbasihan natin. Lagyan ko ng red. Pareho lang sila. Okay. So, itong dalawang naka-box na to, magkapareho lang yan. Okay? So, ngayon, gusto ko nang kunin or i-apply itong Leibniz rule. Okay? So, review natin. So, ito yung makikita nyo doon sa PowerPoint ng Leibniz rule. One slide ito. So, sabi sa Leibniz rule, if you have a function, big Fx, and that function has an integral symbol where the limits are a function of one of the variables. Take note, ito yung qualification or characteristic para magamit ang Leibniz rule. At least, dapat meron kang dalawang variables doon sa function mo. Okay? Doon sa fx mo sa loob ng integral. You should have at least two variables. Okay? Then, your limits should be in terms of one of the two variables. So in this case, you have two variables x and y. Your limits is in terms of x. So therefore, yung change mo, yung change mo doon sa loob ng integral symbol should be in terms of y. Okay? Para kapag in-integrate mo in terms of y ito, sa substitute mo yung limits na x, lahat becomes x. Kaya magiging f of x siya. Okay? So ulitin ko. Characteristic para magamit ang Leibniz rule is number 1, dapat may integral symbol. Number 2, dapat yung function sa loob ng integral should be in terms of two variables, x and y, at yung isang variable nasa limits mo. Okay? So, Yan yung characteristic. So tingnan natin ngayon itong equation natin. Okay? Does it qualify for us to apply Leibniz rule? Unang-una, may integral. Check. Okay, may integral. Pangalawa, yung function mo sa loob ng integral is a function of two variables. Take note, S is a parameter, V is a parameter. Okay? But X is a variable, Q is also a variable. So you have two variables, X and Q. Okay? Third qualification, so check na yon. Third qualification, one of these two variables dapat nasa limits. Okay? So Q, function of Q, dapat function of Q to. So nasa limits naman yung Q. And the other variable should be your change here. So ito dapat yon, X. Kung Q ang nasa limit, X dapat ito. Kung X ang nasa limit, Q dapat ito. Okay? So far, this function qualifies as big F of X. Okay? Na doon sa kanya lahat yan. So, therefore, we can apply Leibniz rule in getting the derivative of this function and this function following this formula for Leibniz rule. Okay? So, para lang hindi kayo malito, doon sa Leibniz rule na PowerPoint slide, it uses two variables X and Y. Okay? X yung nasa limit, Y yung nasa loob ng integral. Okay? In our example, the two variables are Q and X. So, ang X natin dito sa formula na to, doon sa equation natin dito is actually Q. Wait lang. Okay? Yung X dito sa formula na to is Q kasi yun yung nasa limit natin eh. Okay? Nasa limit natin is Q. So therefore, X is parallel to Q. Whereas itong Y, okay, ito yon. So yung Y dito sa Leibniz rule formula is parallel to our X in the profit formula. So far, stop ako dito. Clear ba? Pag may questions,
Yes
please
po,
ask.
sir.
Pag may questions, please ask. So, two variables tayo, X and Q. Okay? Yung Q yung parallel sa X sa Leibniz rule formula, tapos yung X natin yung parallel sa Y sa Leibniz rule formula. So, we can start. So, if you look at the formula for Leibniz rule, ito yung gagawin mo. 3 steps actually. 1, 2, 3. 3 steps para makakuha ka ng derivative ng isang integral function. Okay? So for each of these, ito, gagawin mo yung 3 steps. Ito, gagawin mo din tong 3 steps na to. So ano ba yung 3 steps? First, get the derivative of the upper limit of the integral with respect to the decision variable. And then, substitute mo yung upper limit doon sa fxy. Ano ba yung fxy? Fxy is the function inside. Okay? Ito yon. Okay? Yan yung function. So, substitute mo ngayon yung limit doon sa function. Ang hindi lang isa-substitutan is yung dx. Okay? All of this, kailangan mo substitute. Okay? And then, minus the derivative of the lower limit with respect to x. Tapos, substitute naman yung lower limit doon sa function. Dito pa rin, dito sa function. And then, plus, kopyahin lang ito, yung ax to bx, yung limits ng integral. And then, kunin yung partial derivative na itong function na to with respect to the decision variable and then dy. Okay? Partial derivative with respect to decision variable and dy. So, let's apply. Okay, let's apply. Ito ngayon, kunin natin yung derivative. Okay, derivative of EP with respect to Q. Okay, let's start. Ito muna. Dito muna tayo sa first component. Ito muna kunan natin. So, 3 steps yan. So, give me the first step. Ano yung derivative ng upper limit? with respect to Q. Nandito tayo Ito. Derivative ng upper limit with respect to Q.
Sir, 1 po.
Okay. Upper limit is Q. This derivative of Q with respect to Q is 1. Okay, so that's 1. Times, isa-substitute mo ngayon. So, tingnan nyo itong Leibniz formula. So, nagawa mo na to. Okay, nagawa mo na yan. Next, kailangan mong gawin ito. I-multiply mo ngayon. Isa-substitute mo yung upper limit doon sa function sa loob ng integral. Okay, ito yung function sa loob ng integral. This one. Okay, yan yung function sa loob ng integral. Isa-substitute mo yung Q sa lahat ng X. Okay, yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Kasi fxy to fxy. So yung bx isa-substitute mo sa y. Pero ang y natin is x in this example, lahat ng x. So therefore, yung q mo, isa-substitute mo doon sa isang variable which is your x. So what happens? This is what happens. S, yung x mo becomes q. So substitute mo yung upper limit doon sa x. Nakakasunod, Cass?
Yes po.
Okay? Sagot agad Aabot din tayo uli ng 6:15 today. So, alam ko na kung anong mangyari like the previous class. Then, Q, V times Q minus, isa-substitute na yung upper limit sa lahat ng X, sa lahat ng isang variable. Okay? Hindi nyo gagalawin yung parameter. So, Q minus Q. Okay? And then, close parenthesis times F of Q. Yung X mo, dun sa Fx, magiging F of Q. Okay? So, we're done with this one. Na-substitute na natin sa Fxy yung lahat ng upper limit. Okay? Sinubstitute natin yung upper limit sa X, sa lahat ng X inside Fxy. Okay. Next, let's go to the next step. Minus derivative ng AX. AX is the lower limit, okay, of your integral function. So the lower limit is actually negative infinity, or it is a constant. So what is the derivative of a constant?
0 po.
0. Okay? So minus 0. So I do not have to do this anymore. Hindi ko na kailangan tong gawin. Kasi ang sinasabi nito is yung lower limit AX. Kailangan i-substitute ko sa lahat ng X dito sa Fxy. So kunyari, let's say may lower limit siya in terms of Q, then substitute mo lahat yon into all the X's here in Fxy. But since 0 naman yung multiplier ko, ito, 0 to, hindi ko na kailangan gawin yon. Kasi 0 na rin lalabas. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So okay na rin yan. So next, ito naman, gawin natin ito, itong last part. Plus, sabi dito, kopyahin natin itong integral. Kung ano yung original integral, ax to bx, kopyahin lang natin. So that's negative infinity up to q. Just copy. Okay? And then, it tells us to get the partial derivative of fxy. Fxy is the function inside. Partial derivative nun with respect to x. Okay? Partial derivative with respect to x. And obviously, dapat may matirang f, since may integral symbol tayo, dapat may matirang fx dx dito. Okay? Dapat may matirang fx dx. So, kunin natin yung partial derivative of fxy with respect to q. Okay? Yung x natin, remember, our x is q. So, we have to get the derivative, partial derivative with respect to q. Game. With respect to q, sx. What's the partial derivative? Pag partial derivative, di ba, all other variables are held constant, are assumed to be constant. So, what is the partial derivative of this with respect to Q?
Zero po ba, sir?
Ah?
Zero po.
Zero. Sino yung nagsasalita?
Joanna po.
Joanna, hindi kita masyado marinig, pero zero.
Sorry
Zero
po.
yung sagot. Kasi S is a parameter, X is a variable, which is not Q. So both are assumed to be constant. Okay? If we get the partial with respect to Q. So therefore, the derivative of Sx, partial derivative of Sx with respect to Q is zero. Okay? Next, partial derivative of VQ with respect to Q. What is the partial derivative?
V po.
V, di ba? V. Then, negative Vx. Partial derivative of negative Vx with respect to Q, zero ulit. Tama?
Yes po.
Okay, so therefore, wala na. Nakuha na natin yung partial derivative of fxy with respect to Q. Then, you multiply that by fx dx. Okay? Since nasa integral siya, kailangan may fx dx talaga. Okay? So that's it. Nagawa na natin yung 3 steps para sa first. O gawin na, kung naintindihan yan, gawin na natin yung 3 steps na to ng Leibniz rule para doon sa second. So, I have to add the second one. Okay, the second one. So, umpisan natin. Pag ginagawa nyo to ng madalas, masasanay na kayo. So, ito yung fxy natin. Okay, yan yung fxy natin. So, first, derivative of the upper limit with respect to Q. Upper limit mo is infinity. What is the derivative?
Zero po, sir.
Okay, correct? Zero. So, I don't have, so nagawa ko na to, yung upper limit with respect to Q. I don't have to get this one anymore kasi 0 times this is 0 naman. So, hindi ko na isa-substitute yung upper limit doon sa fxy. So, 0 naman. Next, let's do this. Minus derivative of the lower limit. So, lower limit naman nito is Q. So, derivative nun is 1 times, this time, since mayroon kang Q dito, derivative is 1, you now have to substitute the lower limit. Ito yun, no? You have to substitute the lower limit into all the excess in fxy. Okay? All the excess. So, therefore, you have SQ minus, kailangan alam nyo kung saan substitute ha, P. So lahat ng other variable mo, substitutean mo nung Q, yung lower limit. Okay? So since the lower limit is Q, you substitute it into X, this becomes Q minus Q. And then you have FQ so, done. Okay, tapos na to. Nagawa na natin to. And then the last step is to get the integral, kopya lang yung integral, Q to infinity. Okay, Q to infinity. Tapos, get the partial derivative of this function. Okay, this function with respect to Q. Okay, partial derivative with respect to Q. So this one, SQ with respect to Q, ano yung partial derivative?
S po.
S.
S.
S plus P.
Okay, S plus P. Kasi negative P times negative Q is positive PQ, and the partial derivative of PQ with respect to Q is P. And PX, the derivative will be 0. So therefore, you will have S plus P times f of X dx. Do you follow? So we have applied Leibniz rule sa first integral function, sa second integral function, and then ito na lang. We don't need Leibniz rule for this. So the derivative with respect to q of CQ is equal to minus C. And the derivative of negative A is 0. Okay? So yan, meron na tayong derivative ng expected profit with respect to Q. And our objective, as I've said earlier, is to maximize expected profit, get the derivative, and equate this derivative to 0. So I will now equate this to 0. And then solve for Q. Okay, before you solve for Q, simplify first kasi this one is 0. Q minus Q. This one is also 0. Okay. And take note that SQ, FQ, okay, this one, SQ times FQ, positive. Ito naman, minus SQ times FQ. So SQ times FQ minus SQ times FQ will give you 0. So I can also take this out. Tanggalin ko na to. Tama, class?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So etong term na to wala na. Wala na rin yan. Ang matitira na lang dalawang term, oh. Okay? At saka ito. So therefore, in the end, you will be left with the integral, okay, the integral negative infinity to Q v times fx dx. So labas ko na yung v. V is a constant naman. So ititira ko yung fx dx dito. Okay? Tapos yung isa, lalabas ko na rin yung s plus p. Constant naman yan. Times the integral q to infinity f of x dx. Tapos minus c equal to 0. That's your derivative, di ba? Minus c is equal to 0. Ngayon, for me to be able to simplify this, hindi ko pwedeng i-add itong dalawa. Hindi ko pwedeng i-add itong dalawa kasi magkaiba yung limits nila. Okay? Tapos meron silang coefficient sa labas. Okay? Pwede ko lang silang i-add kapag walang coefficient sa labas. I can add and the sum is equal to 1. Ito tsaka ito is equal to 1. Pero since may coefficient sa labas, hindi ko sila ma-add unless I transform the limits into the other. One limit into the other para ma-add ko sila. Okay? So, ang gagawin, ang ginawa dyan sa, actually, nandito na tayo. No? So, if you look here, we are already here. Tapos na tayo sa applying Leibniz rule. Nandito na tayo sa slide na to. Okay, so if you look here, you can actually convert this one, okay, ito pala, into this one. So, para maging pareho sila, ang gagawin ko, I will express this in V times, ito, pwede kong kunin yung 1 minus. Kasi, tandaan nyo, sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, this is just the probability that x is less than q. Okay? X is less than q. And this is the probability that x is greater than q. So, alam natin, x less than q is just 1 minus x greater than q. You follow? The probability that x is less than the order quantity is just 1 minus the probability that x is greater than the order quantity. Tama ba? Hindi na nakuha. Okay. So, ito lang yon. Principle. So, 1 minus this okay. 1 minus the integral of q to infinity fx dx will give you negative infinity to q fx dx. Okay? So, ang principle lang nung ginawa kong yon is this one is the probability that x is less than q. Whereas this one so are these two the same?
Yes po, sir.
Parang class, is the probability of x less than 5 equal to 1 minus the probability of x greater than 5?
Yes po, sir.
Diba? So, therefore, I can now express this one as 1 minus the integral, pero i-reverse ko yung limits. Magiging q to infinity. Okay? Para maging 1 minus probability x greater than q. Okay? So, once I've expressed it in this form, copy this one, pwede ko na ngayon i-factor out kasi pareho na silang q to infinity. Okay? So I can now factor out yung integral q to infinity fx dx at yung common, yung imumultiply ko sa common factor na q to infinity fx dx is yung v, kasi i-distribute ko itong v eh. This becomes v minus v times this plus s plus p times this. So, therefore, you can now follow from this derivation. Itong ginawa kong v1 minus is this line. Okay? This line. Sorry, this line pala. Itong line na to. Then from here, okay, from here, all you have to do is, yung common factor is this one, itong integral. Tapos yung nasa labas niya is v, okay, sorry, this is negative v plus s plus p. Kaya, naging s plus p minus v. Ito yon. S plus p minus v. Yan yung nasa labas ng common factor na q raised to infinity, q to infinity fx dx. Okay? Tapos, meron ka pang v times 1. Kaya may v ka dito. So, v times 1. So, that's v. Plus s plus p minus v times this one. Okay? Minus c equal to 0. So, our goal is to solve for q or isolate the term that has q. So gusto kong ma-isolate ito. Ito lang yung may q eh. Okay? So isolating this, I will now transpose c to the right side, transpose v to the right side. So that becomes positive c minus v, okay, which is this one, c minus v, divided by, ito, to get rid of this one, divide this by s plus p minus v. So c minus v over s plus p minus v would now make this expression alone on the left side. Is that clear, class?
Yes, sir.
Nakuha ba, class, from paggamit natin ng Leibniz rule? Okay, dito, Leibniz rule. Tapos, sinimplify natin. So, itong Leibniz rule dito, ito yung ginawa natin dito sa taas. Yan yon. Then, sinimplify natin. Ito yung lumabas. Binan-minus ko para ma-factor out ko yung infinity integral from q to infinity para ma-factor out ko siya like this. Okay, and then, in-isolate ko to sa left side. Okay, nilipat ko yung ibang parameters sa right side, then divided by s plus p minus p to get this formula. So, take note, Q star na to. Kasi ito na yung optimal Q. So again, let me remind you that infinity means upper limit of x, of your random variable x. Q star is your optimal Q. So, ibig sabihin, when you evaluate this, let's say, upper limit mo is 20, tapos yung Q mo is 15, it means that you have to integrate from 15 to 20. Okay, yun ang ibig sabihin nun. So, ang tawag naman sa C minus V over S plus P minus V is your critical ratio. Okay? So, kino-compute nyo to kasi all of these are parameters. So, mako-compute nyo yung value netong right side na to. So, take note that the left side is a probability calculation. The right side is the answer. Okay? So, in your N.1, if alam nyo na yung probability value, which is the right side, tapos may unknown ka dito sa left side, which is your Q, you can now use your probability tables or your probability formulas to solve for Q. Okay, in this formula. Okay, masosolve nyo na yung Q. And we will just review yung pag-solve ng probability sa left side using different distributions in class na lang. Kasi hindi ko mag-gauge ngayon kung ano yung naaalala nyo pa, ano hindi. Okay? So, anyway, this is your final derived equation to solve for Q star. Okay? To solve for the optimal order quantity. Now, after you solve for the optimal order quantity class, kailangan isolve nyo yung expected profit. You need to solve the expected profit. So this formula gives you the optimal Q. Once you have the optimal Q, kailangan yung bumalik dito sa formula na to to solve for expected profit pag alam nyo na yung value ng Q. Okay, pag alam nyo na yung value ng Q. Okay? Yung X, take note, maraming possible values yan. Okay? So, kailangan, pagka-continuous yan, yung buong range, ma-integrate ninyo. Okay? Pagka-discrete yan, kailangan isa-isahin nyo yan. So, in other words, kailangan yung balikan nito. If it is a discrete distribution class, ang gagawin nyo lang is lahat ng integral, papalitan nyo ng summation. Tapos, tatanggalin nyo lang yung dx sa formula. Okay? So, again, if it is a discrete probability distribution, remove all the integral, replace it with summation, and remove all the dx in the formula. Okay, and for this one, if it is discrete, all you have to do, this is if x is continuous. Whereas this one is if x is discrete. So, ang gagawin lang is, yung integral, papalitan ng summation. Okay? Tapos, Q star to infinity pa rin. At ang isang difference is kapag discrete, the probability on the left side should be greater than or equal to the value on the right side. Okay? So, yun lang yung difference. And then, your goal is to solve for Q star. Alright, so since wala tayong time to do the back order model, we will just apply this formula to this example. By the way, ang sinasabi lang nitong slide na to is if you have beginning inventory, kunyari si newspaper boy, meron siyang beginning inventory, wag na lang kasi imposible may beginning inventory siya eh. Pwedeng yung yung baker, yung bread. Meron siyang beginning inventory, something that was left over from the previous day, for example. So, kapag na-compute na niya yung Q using the formula that we have derived, okay, at lumabas yung Q for the day is less than the beginning inventory that he has, then, hindi mo na kailangan umorder or hindi ka na kailangan mag-produce. Zero na. Kasi you have enough inventory in stock to satisfy your demand. Okay, yun ang ibig sabihin nun. But if the computed Q, order quantity, is greater than your beginning inventory or what is available to you, then kailangan mo mag-order or mag-produce. At ano ba yung pro-produce mo? Sabi dito, order or produce Q star minus B. So if you have beginning inventory of 10, tapos ang Q, sabi sa formula natin, dapat mag-produce ka ng 25 for the day. Then, ang ipoproduce mo na lang is not the whole 25 kasi you have 10 na eh. So, 25 minus 10 na lang. 15 na lang yung